I like to think there are no useless ships in Star Citizen. Some are more efficient in their roles, some are less. While I do believe there are outdated ships and vehicles, I do think they were once able to fill that role which they were intended for. Good example here would be the MISC Freelancer. It does not mean the ship is useless, but rather in need of an update to be competitive against the newer and alternative ships of that category. Freelancer might even be somewhat special. The original idea behind the ship, how it came out, and how it has aged. New patches and features have changed the game over the years. And Freelancer, being one of the older ships, has not really aged too well in this scenario. For example, the small cargo area in the airlock part of the ship does not really accommodate the new cargo gameplay mechanics, as it is quite hard to access that area since containers are too big for it. Even before this, the position of Freelancer's rear turret has been considered unideal, not just because of its position at the back of the ship, but also the docking collar blocking the view towards the front. It is one of the first ships to have a trailer released about it. Freelancer was imagined to fly and work a bit differently, but that was the original concept. And so now, it is a ship we don't really see that much. There are still useful variants of this ship, but it's most commonly referred to as the default one, which lacks certain strengths when it comes to ships capable of filling the same role. One of the newer vehicles which has not aged that well is the Drake Mule, intended to manage one unit containers and cargo boxes. When this vehicle was created, no one really knew about the new container sizes and where we were going to go with it. It is 2 to 3 years old, and because of the cargo changes over the past year, or perhaps even more, it has become somewhat outdated if we compare it to the new exosuit or the MPUV tractor, and if we are talking about the vehicles which were made obsolete. And exactly here we can refer to the MPUV cargo, which has been somewhat outclassed by the MPUV tractor, both vehicles being very similar but having only one minor or major difference, which is the tractor beam. And that is such a great tool that it already outclasses the cargo variant. There are quite a few ships which are outdated and forgotten about, but one of the clear examples has always been the Gladiator. Not the Gladius, but the Gladiator. It was a fundraising milestone, and it is a 2-seater medium fighter / bomber. While in truth it is a 2-seater medium fighter with a turret and some rockets. It has very clearly an early design and style to it. It requires 2 players for the most optimal use, but it does perform a bit lower than most other medium fighters. Designated as a bomber, which would be an interesting concept, but unfortunately there are no bombs and you can have just the rockets. It is clearly outdated and it's not seen very often in the verse because there are so many better options to go for a 2-seater ship. I'm certain there are more outdated ships in the game. These are the ones that I have mostly noticed. Some which no longer serve best at the role they used to fill. There are equally good ships which have aged very well, like the Drake Cutlass Black, still one of the most common ships in the verse. Or Aegis Titan Avenger, a pretty good starter considering even all the changes. There are plenty of light fighters which are still quite optimal, even though they're not as powerful as they used to be. I am certain the developers' focus is elsewhere, and the ships are on the lower end of the priorities list. There are plenty more ships which have been left behind, and newer ones have taken their place. I did not cover all the ships which require an update, as I am sure everyone has their own specific opinion about it. These are just a few which I have noticed, and of course might be the most obvious ones. Be sure to let me know if there are ships which you think have been left behind. Ships which would require an upgrade, a tune-up. Of course, every ship in the same class cannot be the same, they need to have different strengths, but something which has been left perhaps too far behind. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.